and that's the one they jumped on, and that ended up in the Daily Breeze. And I was blown away that it was the front page of the section C. It takes the whole entire page, and then there's also another half page.
So here's a copy here. We have some cameras in studio, but here's a copy of the Daily Breeze. And then, again, like, why do we still even, why does this appeal to us?
I'm very confused as the ways people start smoking. Most of the time, it's just because their family, they're raised in it. Or
environment or friends, peer pressure.
Peer pressure. We said that at the same time.
Yeah. I think it was at the end of your video. I think you put the number or the scroll that, in a nutshell, smoking, if you pick up smoking young and continue doing it through your life, you're basically saying goodbye to like a third of your life. And, just the numbers that figure, the average age expectancy, 75, 85 years. And we've all known people checking out in their 50s or earlier, and that's basically, 30% or more. Just not there. Yeah,
I based that research on the American Lung Association facts, as well as my experience with my mother and my grandmother, who passed previously from a heart attack because of smoking, because she was a lifer on smoking as well. And I just saw, it takes you out at least 20, 30 years sooner than you needed to go.
Yeah, I think my grandfather was one of the exceptions. He was in his 70s with emphysema, but he also, and I wasn't there, he was in Missouri at the time, and my sister and mom were back there, and kind of mention this real quick, and then we'll move on. But my sister said he was so in dire need or want of a cigarette that he was willing to smoke in what was his oxygen tent, until someone goes, we kind of frown on that. That's going to blow up, the town.
My mother, similar. She didn't have a tent or anything. Because she was paralyzed with the stroke in the bed, she would be asking for a cigarette about every 15 minutes. She would just repeatedly ask for it. And in my heart, I felt bad because, I can't just get her outside immediately, and like it wasn't going to, hurt her anymore. She was already going to die.
Right.
And why make her suffer with her addiction? So once in a while, with the pressure of the nurses, we could get her outside. I got her outside on 2 occasions, and she lit up. It was like I gave her a Christmas present. And I was a little sarcastic on the video when I said Make-A-Wish Foundation. It was just, I was joking.
Yeah.
Really, that was the happiest moment of her visit with us, is me getting her outside so she can drag off a cigarette. And she's so addicted to it, but she hates it.
Yeah.
And it's just a terrible, it's a sad way. There's so many people out there that have parents or their, grandparents are going through this now and have gone through it recently. And I always read all the comments, and I don't have time to comment back on all of them.
Yeah.
Could be a full-time job right there.
Right.
But when I try to focus on the positive, inspiring ones, because that's where I'm after. I'm not after a guilt trip. I'm not after sympathy. I just want people to be educated and know that it's for real. It's not Hollywood trying to trick you. I'm just trying to show you the truth. And this could be you. It's not a guarantee, but it's very likely that if you smoke cigarettes your whole life,
absolutely,
you're going to be on your back, either paralyzed, having a heart attack, dying of lung cancer, emphysema.
Something's going to catch up.
The list is long.
Yeah, and the odds are high that you're going to get something or a combination of number of things. One of the other things that I got from the video I want to mention before we have to kind of slide to a break, and then we're going to talk about your music and some of your other projects here. Personally, if I did a video, I maybe would have. You say you had a little sarcasm, but it was within you. You showed it was in a good heart. There was pure love. You were completely like an example of unconditional love that I would be proud if that was my son, because I'd be like, darn it, my son got that unconditional love lesson. If nothing else, I succeeded there. And where maybe I didn't get that, and I would have I was a little angry with my father. I don't know if I could have pulled that off. So I just want to say, commend you for that. And I think that if someone hasn't told you that, that's something I picked up from the video that I could tell you definitely were coming from pure love.
Thank you very much. I'm actually mirroring the love my mother pumped into me my whole life. And as you're a kid, you don't even appreciate that, really. You know,
True.
you're afraid to hug and kiss your mother in public.
You don't until you get to like an adult is when you realize it, you know?
You grow up and you
It's a great point.
realize there's true love there, and it's
Yeah.
not, you're not being harassed and made fun of and embarrassed by your parents. But I know teenagers go through that phase where they need to step away from where they came from and try to create their own identity. I also went through the same thing where me and my mother weren't getting along when I was a teenager.
Right.
And when I did finally live on my own, I appreciated my mother more. And then when we visited each other, it was a new relationship again. Only I was giving back love that she was always giving me all along. I was finally seeing it and appreciating it. And with my mother in this situation, I was at the end of her life, and I feel like I had a lot more to give her. Like I held back too much on my expression of love. And at this time there was no time to be worried about myself. And I don't care if I was crying in public or I was hugging my mother, or, you know, at this point I didn't give two shits about the video camera. It was all about my mother. The video camera was a third party because I didn't have another witness with me for a few of these scenes. And at this point in my life, I just thought, you know what? I need the video because for family and friends, and later, you know, as I revealed, it turned into an anti-smoking documentary. But I was not thinking of myself at this point. I was thinking only of my mother, and that video camera was just for her.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm glad I got to show the world how much I love my mom, because that would have been one thing I would have felt guilty if I never had that. If I never had the situation or the videotape, then I might have even be doubting myself if I loved her enough, or I did enough for her. I would have these regrets eating away at me.
Right.
I took a very negative, sad situation that I didn't have control over, and I did what I could, and I did it on her behalf, and it was something that she wanted. And because I made the documentary, something good has come out of it, and it's going to continue. This video and everything that it does is going to outlive me, I'm sure. I'm sure many generations past my lifespan are going to benefit from that, and I couldn't be more proud of my mother and what we did together.
And that's a good point for us to possibly pause here and take a break, and we'll have more from our guest Aaron Sean Gray in studio right after this.
I did not realize that the Thanks Tobacco You Killed My Mother was going to be so big, so I didn't have that. I wasn't getting ready to pat myself on the back for it.
Absolutely not.
It just, all the energy kept coming back and trickling back. All the love people were giving me back. I just realized that I was creating a community with people that are in similar situations. So you become a family there, even though you don't know these people individually or in person.
Yeah.
These people pour their hearts out to you, and I pour it back. And that actually helped me actually get through all this a lot better. And I think with the video, it's not something that I'm proud of for my work. I'm proud of that it's out there.
Right.
Because it needed to be out there. As ugly as it is, it does the job it needs to do. And that's what I'm proud of. Is I believe that was a divine hand. You know, I felt like it was going on its own, and I was just there working.
Yeah.
It just sort of happened.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the people that's lives it touch, like the guy who sent you an email going, I'm going to shut down my store. I'm not going to be in this business any longer, you know, had an effect.
I will apologize, too, because part of the video in the March segment, I was on a red-eye flight, and I was on zero sleep for almost 2 days. And once I started realizing that this is going to be more of a documentary, and that was that last segment when I was wearing the yellow gown, I realized I repeated myself and stumbled over my tongue quite a bit, and I realized that I couldn't edit it and clean it up and do another take. And you know, it wasn't about taking a take. It was just one continuous bit of footage.
Yeah.
And I tried to use as much of it as I can to drive the point home. And if I were to do that again, it would not have that character to that video. It would be sterilized.
That's true. So again, you know, the message is definitely very important. Over 300,000 people have viewed it. Hopefully you listening today will get a chance to check it out. All right, Aaron Sean Gray, thank you so much. Seems strange calling you by all three of your names since full disclosure, as I said, we are friends, and happy to have you in the studio here today. And let's go ahead and roll this tune. This is called Not My Father, and thanks again to Aaron Sean Gray for being a guest today on The Pursuit of Happiness here on HealthyLife.net.
Thanks for having me.
They say that nicotine is one of the three most addictive substances. Period. I mean, they put that up there actually above some of what are considered the hardest addicting street narcotics. Heroin.